Okay, you need to have out your notes 8-4. We're going to finish those up from yesterday. Also, you can have out your yellow sheet with your parent function so that way you can refer back to those. Alright, so on 7, you have to first determine what type of function you have. Notice that we have a cube, so this is cubic. Here's your parent function we talked about yesterday, f of x equals x cubed. The values that we plugged in were -2. When we cube that, we get -8. -1 would be -1. 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 8. Okay, so now let's write down our transformations. Okay, so looking at this example, notice we have parentheses. Anytime we have parentheses and we're adding or subtracting inside those parentheses, we have a horizontal shift. If it's x plus 3 inside, that will be going to the left 3. Okay, notice that there's not a plus or a minus on the outside, so there's not going to be a vertical shift. So all we're doing is going left 3 on this example. Okay, so I'm shifting my 0, 0 point, which is my origin. I'm going to go left 3. Okay, everything else stays the same because we don't have a reflection, we don't have a stretch, we don't have a shrink. So I'm plotting my parent function points from my new origin. So I'm going left 2, down 8. Down, or left 1, down 1, right 1, up 1, and right 2, up 8. Connect your points. There's your cubic graph from where it looks like a snake. Alright, remember we talked about yesterday, linear, cubic, cube root. All 3 of those, domain and range, should be all real numbers because notice that it's continuous both directions. All real for both. So first thing you need to be doing is deciding what type of function do you have, so that way you can refer back to the parent function and then find what the new graph looks like. Alright, let's look at 8. Notice on 8, there's a cube root. This is cube root graph. Here's your parent function, f of x equals cube root of x. Remember the points that we used yesterday? We plugged in a -8, and then the cube root of -8 is -2. We plugged in a -1 and got -1. We plugged in 0 and got 0. 1, 1, and 8, 2. So those are your parent function values there. Alright, so let's write our transformations down. Notice there's a negative in front. That's going to be a reflection, which changes the sign of your original y value of your parent function. Alright, notice under the radical, same thing as the square root. If it's under the radical with the x, that's a horizontal shift. If it's x minus 2, you're going to be going to the right 2. Okay, so we do have a 0, 0 point. We're shifting it. So we're shifting the origin. We're going right 2. So there's my new 0, 0 point. We're also reflecting, so I need to change the sign of each original y value. These are my, or that's my new origin there, so I'm using that as my origin. I'm going to go left 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then up 2. Left 1, up 1, right 1, down 1, and right 8, 1, 2, down 2. Connect your points. It's a sideways snake there. It's decreasing from left to right because of that reflection, the negative in front. Okay, I just went over on number 7. Linear, cube root, and cubic. So cube root is what we have on this one. All have a domain and range of all real numbers because it's continuous both directions. So all real numbers for both. All right, let's take a look at number 9. Okay, so number 9, notice we have a cube root. It gives us our parent function, the same thing that we just had on the last one. So -8, -2, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 8, 2. All right, so let's look at our transformations. We have the cube root of x plus 6. Notice the plus 6 is on the outside of the radical, which means a vertical shift. If it's plus, you're going up. So we're going up 6 from our parent function. So I'm shifting the 0, 0 point, which is the origin, up 6. And then nothing else changes. I don't have a reflection. I don't have a stretch. I don't have a shrink. Okay, so I'm just plotting those points. So I'm going to go left 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8, and then down 2. Left 1, down 1. Right 1, up 1. And right 8, up 2. So there's my graph there. Just like the previous one, it's a cube root, so all real numbers for domain and for range. It's continuous both directions. You never have a stopping point. Okay, let's take a look at the very back. All right, so we're given the transformations, the function that we're starting with, and we're having to come up with a new function. So it says write the equation for each of the following. Make sure that you're paying close attention to whichever function you're starting with, because that's what type of function you should end up with. So I'm starting with f of x equals 1 over x. I need to go ahead and write g of x for f of x equals. We're shifting 3 units to the right, which means that needs to be with your x. So I'm going to have 1 over x. To the right is subtracting, so x minus 3 in your denominator. 5 units down, which is after your parent function, we're going to be subtracting. So subtract 5. And then there's a reflection, so that makes the front of it negative. So we started with rational, we ended with rational. Let's take a look at 11. So we're starting with f of x equals x cubed. This is cubed. So g of x equals. You're shrinking by a factor of 0.5. You can either write it as a decimal or a fraction. So I'll just put 1/2. Then you're shifting up 2. So we need to have x cubed because we started with an x cubed. We don't need parentheses because we're not shifting left or right. We are shifting up though, so we have to have a plus 2 after your x cubed. Don't leave off the x cubed because then that would be, or the cubed part, that would be linear. Okay, 12. We're starting with rational again. We're going left 6. To the left is plus, so x plus 6 in the denominator on your rational. and then down 1, so we're going to be subtracting 1. We're starting with cube root. So that's g of x equals, we're going to the right 3. So under that cube root, make sure to write the index of 3, or it's going to be a square root. You're going right 3, so I need to have an x minus 3 under your radical. Make sure you write it under the radical. And then the plus 4 on the outside, because you're going up 4. Okay, so now we're going to be given the graph. We have to come up with the transformations, and then we can come up with a function. Notice on 14 I have 2 different parts. That's rational. How you know where it's shifted is your vertical and horizontal asymptotes. So on these graphs, I want you to go ahead and draw your vertical and your horizontal asymptotes there. Find their intersection point, which is right here, because their intersection point is usually at the origin. So to get to this point from the origin, you're shifting right 1, 2, 3, and up 1, 2, 3, 4. How to know if it's a reflection? Look from left to right. From left to right, notice that it's going up. From left to right, if it was going down, that would mean your reflection. So that's how you can remember that. So look from left to right. If it's going from the bottom to the top, increasing, you know that there's no reflection. So when you're writing your function here, they already put g of x equals. It's rational, so I should have a fraction. I'm going right 3, so I should have x minus 3 in the denominator. And then up 4, so plus 4. And on these rational graphs, we're not going to be having any stretches or shrinks on these. Okay, so you don't really need to check for that. Okay, so on 15, looking at that one, notice that there's 2 parts there, so that would also be rational. So you're going to draw your horizontal and vertical asymptotes to help you with finding where it's shifted. And then you're finding their intersection point. So they're intersecting right here. That vertical and horizontal asymptote. Alright, so that's the point that was shifted from the origin, from the parent function. Okay, so it went left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And up 1, 2, 3. Look for the reflection. So it should be increasing from left to right if it's positive, decreasing from left to right if it's negative. So notice this graph is at the bottom, that one's at the top. So it is increasing there. Okay, so I should have 1. Oops, I'm going to change colors. So 1 over, it went left 7. So with the x, you should have x plus 7 and then plus 3. Since we didn't have a reflection on these, then I want to show you what it would look like. If there was a reflection, then you would have 1 up here and then 1 down here. So notice from left to right. Hang on. From left to right, notice that it is decreasing. One's at the top and then the other one is at the bottom. So that would be a negative one from left to right. Okay, let's look at 16. This would be cubic. So we know we're going to have an x cubed. The middle point is normally your origin. So look at your middle point here. From the origin, it went left 1, 2, 3, and up 2. Notice from left to right that it's decreasing, which means you're going to have a reflection because it'll be negative. So it reflects. So I'm putting a negative in front. I should have x cubed in my function. So in parentheses, it's going to the left, so x plus 3. And then that's where the cube goes, is on the outside of the parentheses. And then on 17, so look at your middle. That's your 0, 0 point. Notice it's also cubic here. You went right 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2. Notice from left to right that it's increasing, so it wouldn't be a reflection. So in parentheses, x, it's going to the right, so minus 4. That's where you put the cubed. And then up 2 would be plus 2. Alright, so now you should be able to finish. I forgot. Let me go back. I forgot to do my up 2 here. That's a plus 2. Alright, so you should now be able to finish your assignment 8-4. So you need to get that out. You can use your yellow factoring sheet to help you with, or not factoring sheet, but yellow parent function chart to help you with your parent functions and to know which type of function you have. We will have a quiz tomorrow over 8-3 and 8-4, so make sure you're using this class time to work on those 2 assignments. They're both due tomorrow, quiz tomorrow. If you can't figure out something, ask a neighbor. If you still can't figure it out, then you need to come before school, or actually we don't have action on Wednesday, so come before school tomorrow.